The conference room door slammed open like a gunshot, shattering the tense silence of the board meeting. I fumbled the remote in my sweat-slicked hand. The wrong one, God. Why did we have two identical black clickers? And the massive screen behind Mr. Harlan flickered to life with not the quarterly projections, but a frozen frame from last night's disastrous Tinder date. Me, half drunk and shirtless, mid-laugh with a guy whose face was mercifully blurred, but the implication hung in the air like smoke. Every eye in the room drilled into me. Colleagues, VPs, and worst of all, Mason Harlan, my boss, whose piercing blue stare locked onto mine, not with fury, but something sharper, hungrier, that twisted my gut into knots before he even spoke. Logan, Mason's voice cut through the hush, low and steady as a summer storm rolling in over the Hudson. Looks like you've got some explaining to do. He didn't laugh, didn't fire me on the spot. Instead, he slid a sleek black card across the polished oak table toward me, his fingers brushing mine just long enough to send a jolt up my arm. On the card, etched in silver foil, "Meet me after. Rooftop. 8 p.m. Don't be late." It wasn't a threat, it was an invitation, wrapped in the velvet glove of command. And in that split second, as the room erupted in awkward coughs and averted gazes, I knew my carefully closeted life in this cutthroat Manhattan ad agency was about to unravel. I bolted from the meeting like a thief in the night, heart hammering against my ribs, the card burning a hole in my pocket as I dodged judgmental whispers in the elevator. Mason Harlan wasn't just my boss. He was the golden boy of Harlan and Associates, 32 and already a legend, sharp suits hugging his broad shoulders, that effortless charm that closed million-dollar deals over single malts at the Polo Lounge. I'd idolized him from afar for 2 years, stealing glances during brainstorming sessions, wondering what it would be like to trace the line of his jaw when the fluorescent lights caught it just right. But gay in corporate America? That was a minefield I navigated with grinder hookups in Jersey motels and a rainbow flag buried deep in my desk drawer. Now, it felt like fate or a trap, dangling forbidden fruit right under the glass ceiling. By 8 p.m., the autumn chill bit through my thin blazer as I pushed onto the agency rooftop, the city sprawl below a glittering apology for the chaos up here. Mason was already there, silhouetted against the Empire State Building's glow, nursing a tumbler of something amber. He turned, and damn if that half-smile didn't hit me like a freight train. "You came," he said, voice roughened by the wind, stepping closer until I could smell his cologne, sandalwood and citrus, the kind that lingered on linens. "Wouldn't miss the firing squad," I quipped, but my voice cracked, betraying the nerves twisting like barbed wire in my chest. He chuckled, low and genuine, handing me the glass. Our fingers touched again, deliberate this time, and I swear the skyline blurred for a heartbeat. "Not firing you, Logan." Far from it. He leaned against the ledge, eyes scanning the horizon before flicking back to me, intense, unblinking. "That video has got nothing on the real you. The one who pitches ideas that keep me up at night, sketching in the margins of reports." Heat flooded my face. Flattery from him was rarer than a client paying on time, but there was more in his gaze, a flicker of recognition, like he'd seen his own hidden battles reflected in mine. We talked for hours, the city humming below us like a distant heartbeat. He confessed first, the pressure of being Harlan's heir, the parade of society girlfriends his father paraded him through at galas, the ache of loving men in a world that demanded straight lines. I saw you at that Pride after-party last June, he admitted, swirling his drink. Dancing like you owned the floor. Free. I envied that. My stomach flipped. I'd been there with a one-night stand, anonymous in the crowd, but Mason had noticed me. By midnight, the barriers crumbled. His hand found my waist, pulling me close, and when our lips met, it was electric, slow at first, tentative, then hungry, years of suppressed want pouring out in the salt of his mouth and the press of his body against mine. We broke apart gasping, foreheads touching, the world reduced to the space between us. This can't happen here, I whispered, even as my hands tangled in his hair. The agency. Rules are for breaking, he murmured, kissing me again, deeper, promising secrets in the dark. That night, we didn't go further. Not yet. But the seed was planted, a fragile bloom in concrete cracks. Weeks blurred into a fever dream of stolen moments. Mornings started with Mason's texts, coffee run, black, 2 sugars, innocent on the surface, but laced with subtext that made my pulse race during client calls. We'd sneak into the supply closet for hurried kisses, his stubble grazing my neck as he whispered, "Missed this," against my skin. Lunches became alibis, client brainstorm. I'd mutter to skeptical coworkers, while we devoured sandwiches in Central Park. His knee brushing mine under the picnic table, fingers intertwining when no one looked. Mason was a revelation, tender where I expected steel, vulnerable in ways that chipped at my defenses. He'd trace lazy patterns on my thigh during late-night movies at my cramped Brooklyn walk-up, confessing dreams of ditching the agency for a creative collective upstate, where we could build something real. "You and me," he'd say, voice soft in the lamplight, against the suits. I fell hard, faster than I'd admit, trading my guarded hookups for this, someone who saw the artist in the account exec, who laughed at my dumb impressions of our stuffy CEO. But shadows loomed. His father, Victor Harlan, was a fossil, old money, older prejudices, the kind of man who golfed at Augusta and donated to family values PACs. Mason dodged his calls with practiced ease, but I caught the strain in his jaw during Sunday brunches we'd skip for lazy Sundays in bed. "He'll never know," Mason promised one crisp October morning, as we tangled in sheets scented with his cologne and my cheap detergent. His body was a map I memorized, firm planes of his chest, the scar on his hip from a college lacrosse mishap, the way he arched when I kissed the hollow of his throat. Work complicated it. Promotions dangled like carrots. Mine, tied to landing the Thompson Pharma account, a beast of a pitch that demanded 80-hour weeks. Mason mentored me, his office door half open for strategy sessions that dissolved into makeouts on the leather couch. His tie loosened, my shirt untucked. "You're brilliant," he'd growl, hands roaming. They'd be fools not to see it. But whispers started, jealous colleagues eyeing our easy rapport, HR forms piling up for fraternization reviews. I brushed it off, drunk on the high of us, until the first crack appeared. It was a Thursday, rain lashing the windows like accusations. I'd prepped the pitch deck till dawn, nerves frayed, when Mason pulled me aside post-meeting. "Change of plans," he said, eyes evasive. "Dad's in town, dinner at the Four Seasons." Family obligation. My chest tightened. We'd planned a quiet escape to his Hamptons pied a terre, waves crashing as backdrop to whatever came next. "Cancel," I urged, half joking, but his laugh was forced. "Can't." But tomorrow, promise. He kissed my forehead, quick and chaste, like I was a nephew, not the man who'd mapped his body with reverent touches. That night, alone in my apartment with takeout growing cold, doubt crept in. I scrolled his Instagram, public, curated perfection, and there it was, a story, Mason arm in arm with Elena Vasquez, the agency's star media buyer, at some glitzy fundraiser. Her head on his shoulder, his arm around her waist. Caption: networking never looked so good. Power couple vibes. My stomach plummeted. It was staged. I told myself PR bullshit for the old guard. But the like from Victor Harlan? That knife twisted. By morning, resolve hardened. I confronted him in the parking garage, rain-slicked and raw. What's the play here, Mason? Am I your dirty secret? Or just a pit stop? He froze. Keys dangling, face paling under the sodium lights. Logan. It's not, Elena means nothing. Dad's breathing down my neck about settling down, image stuff. His hand reached for mine, but I yanked back. The betrayal not of her, but of the half-truths, stinging like salt in a wound. Then fight for us? I demanded, voice breaking. Or let me go. He pulled me into a desperate embrace, rain mingling with tears I hadn't realized were falling. I will. God, I will. We made love in his car then, frantic and fierce, windows fogging as he whispered apologies into my skin. Patched the fracture, temporarily, but trust is fragile glass, and we just introduced a hairline crack. November brought Thanksgiving, a minefield of family facades. I flew home to Ohio, force-feeding turkey to my mom while dodging questions about that nice boy from work. Mason texted nonstop, missing your laugh. Send pics. Photos of his sterile Upper East Side family dinner. Elena conspicuously absent but Victor's glare palpable even through pixels. We video called late, his face soft in the screen's glow, sharing pie crust crumbs and secrets. Come out with me, he urged. To the world. To him. I hesitated. My own closet was cracked open, but his was bolted shut. Back in the city, the Thompson pitch loomed. We burned the midnight oil, his ideas weaving seamlessly with mine, a creative tango that had the team buzzing. Success tasted sweet. Handshakes, champagne toasts, and in the afterglow of the boardroom win, Mason cornered me in the copy room. You did it, he breathed, lifting me onto the machine, lips crashing into mine with possessive fire. My star. We were reckless, papers scattering, but in that bubble, felt invincible. Then, the bomb dropped. A leaked email chain, anonymous, vicious, hit my inbox at 2 a.m. Snippets of Mason's correspondence with Victor, pitching team synergy with Elena as his future partner. My name buried in a footnote about talented junior staff. Betrayal hit like vertigo, the words blurring as sobs racked me. Was I collateral? A fling to spice up the monotony before the altar? I stormed his office at dawn, printouts clutched like evidence. He looked wrecked, dark circles, askew, but denial died on his lips. Logan, listen. No, I snarled, hurling the pages. You played me. Us. The fight was ugly. Accusations flying, his pleas drowned in my rage. I was protecting you, from him, from this place, but protection felt like poison, and when I slammed the door, the echo lingered like a death knell. December's chill mirrored the frost between us. I threw myself into work, pitching revisions like armor, but every glance at Mason's empty office, he'd taken personal leave, was a fresh bruise. Colleagues tiptoed, the leaks fallout rippling, HR investigations, Elena's smug side eyes, Victor's shadow looming larger. I crashed at a friend's in Queens, deleting Mason's voicemails unheard, each "I'm sorry" a siren I couldn't afford. Rock bottom came on a snow-dusted night, wandering midtown alone, the Rockefeller tree's lights mocking my isolation. A bar on 53rd Street called me in dim, divey, with a jukebox crooning Sinatra. I nursed a whiskey, I stinging, when a voice cut through. Rough night. The guy was cute, scruffy beard, kind eyes, but it was the empathy in his nod that cracked me. We talked for hours, strangers sharing war stories of lost loves and corporate cages. His name was Alex, a graphic designer who'd come out at 20, built a life unapologetic. "You deserve someone who shouts it from the rooftops," he said, hand on my arm, warm and steady. I didn't go home with him, not yet, but his number burned in my phone, a lifeline. The next day, clarity hit. I wouldn't crumble. I channeled the hurt into a side project, a graphic novel pitch about hidden identities in the ad world, sketches of shadowed figures chasing light. It was raw, therapeutic, pages filling with what Mason and I could have been. He resurfaced mid-month, a knock at my door that echoed like thunder. I opened it, resolve stealing, to find him drenched in slush, eyes red-rimmed. "Let me in," he begged, voice hoarse. Against better judgment, I did. We stood in the foyer, awkward as exes at a funeral, until he dropped to his knees, not dramatic, just broken. I fucked up. The email's strategy to buy time, to come out on my terms. But losing you, that's the real loss. Tears tracked his cheeks, and mine followed, the dam bursting. We talked till dawn, peeling back layers, his fear of disinheritance, the Harlan legacy a noose, my terror of being the phase, disposable in his ascent. "I love you," he said finally, the words a vow, pulling me down to the rug where we held each other, not lovers yet, but survivors. Forgiveness isn't linear, it zigzags, but that night, we turned a corner. Christmas Eve, we rebuilt tentatively. He took me to his family's brownstone, not as date, but colleague friend, a lie that chafed but was progress. Victor was cordial ice, Elena absent, rumor had it she jumped ship to a rival firm. Under the tree, Mason slipped me a gift, a leather-bound journal, first page inscribed, "For the stories only we know. Write our ending." My throat tightened. Inside, pressed like a flower, was the remote from that fateful meeting, engraved, the click that started it all. New Year's dawned with promise. We escaped to the Catskills, a cabin blanketed in white, where isolation stripped pretenses. No suits, no secrets, just us, chopping wood till our hands blistered, laughing over mulled wine as snow piled high. That first night, by the fire, he undressed me slowly, reverent, mapping scars of doubt with lips and whispers. "You're my home," he murmured, bodies joining in a rhythm that healed more than hurt. We made love like it was sacrament, tender, then urgent, cries echoing off timber walls. In the afterglow, tangled limbs and shared breaths, I believed in us again. But January brought the storm. Victor summoned Mason, ultimatum blazing, marry Elena or forfeit the agency. It was a bluff, Mason swore, but the board meeting footage leaked. Victor railing about distractions. My face flashing on screen as Exhibit A. Public now. The scandal erupted, tabloids dubbing me Harlan's hidden heartthrob. Protests outside the office from queer activists I'd never met. Mason faced the gauntlet, but I was collateral. Resume tainted, bridges burning. The climax shattered on a frigid afternoon in his office. Glass walls no barrier to prying eyes. Victor burst in, face thunderous, Elena trailing like a vulture. This ends now, he barked, slamming a resignation letter on the desk. Mine. Forged? No. Worse. Coerced from HR under duress. He's out. And you, son, if you choose this abomination, you're out too. Mason's face drained of color, but he stood, hand finding mine across the desk. Then I'm out. With him. The room exploded. Victor's roar, Elena's gasp, security sirens wailing. Fists clenched, voices overlapping in a cacophony of betrayals finale. Mason shoved the letter back, pulling me close in front of them all. Logan is my partner. My future. Deal with it. Victor's slap landed hard, a crack that silenced us all, red blooming on Mason's cheek. But he didn't flinch, just held my gaze, steel in his eyes. We're done here. We fled to the rooftop, the same one where it began. City chaos below a fitting underscore. Bruised but unbroken, we kissed through tears, salt mingling with blood from split lips. What now? I whispered, wind whipping our coats. He smiled, fierce and free. Now, we build. Together, exile tasted bittersweet. Mason walked away from Harlan and Associates that day, severing ties with a single email. Effective immediately. I resign. The legacy ends with me. Victor's retaliation was swift. Frozen assets, blackballed contacts, but Mason had stashed enough in offshore accounts. A rebellion years in the making. We holed up in the Hamptons house, winter waves crashing like applause, plotting our escape from the wreckage. Freelance gigs trickled in, Mason's Rolodex still gold for indie brands hungry for his edge. I polished my graphic novel, shadows in the spotlight, chapters bleeding our story. The remote, the rooftop, the slap heard round the boardroom. Alex, my bar confidant, connected me to a small press. His enthusiasm was infectious, lunches turning flirty, but my heart stayed moored to Mason. You're glowing, Alex noted one afternoon over falafel in Soho. Whoever he is, hold tight. I did, but guilt nipped. Had I stolen Mason's empire? Spring thawed the ice. We emerged cautious, attending queer-lit readings in the village. Hands linked openly now, the stares less hostile than empowering. Mason volunteered at a youth center, mentoring closeted teens with stories of his own stumbles. Watching him, patient and passionate, reignited the fire. Nights were ours. Candlelit dinners on the deck. His head in my lap as I read drafts aloud. Feedback laced with kisses. This is us, he'd say, fingers tracing my collarbone. Raw. Real. But conflict simmered. Victor's lawyers circled, suing for breach of fiduciary duty, dredging emails to paint Mason as unstable, me as seducer. Depositions were hell, reliving the leak, the slap under fluorescent glare. Elena's testimony a venomous twist. He used Logan to rebel. It was always about control. Doubt crept back. Whispers in my ear during sleepless hours. Was I the rebellion? Or the man? The trial peaked in May. A Manhattan courtroom stuffy with hypocrisy. Victor, silver-haired and steely, testified with paternal sorrow. My son was led astray, Mason countered, voice steady. I chose love over legacy. No regret. Our eyes met across the aisle, a lifeline in the storm. The judge ruled in our favor, settlement slim, but vindication sweet. Victor's parting glare, a ghost we left behind. Summer bloomed with renewal. We launched a boutique agency from a Williamsburg loft, Harlan Echoes, rebranded with my designs. Bold lines, hidden depths. Clients flocked, progressive brands, queer-owned startups. Success was modest but ours. Birthdays celebrated with rooftop toasts. 1 year since the remote. Mason proposed that night, not ring, but vow. A custom remote, etched click for forever, handed over with a grin. Marry me? In whatever way feels right. Tears pricked. I nodded, pulling him close. The city sparkled below, indifferent witness to our quiet triumph. Yet humanity's arc bends slow. Victor's health faltered, heart attack, the paper said, and Mason wavered, filial duty clashing with hard-won freedom. Hospital visits were tense silences. Victor's bedside mutterings, "Come back. Fix this." Mason held firm, but cracks showed nights pacing, guilt etching lines on his face. He made me, he confessed one stormy evening, rain lashing windows. But you remade me. I held him through it, our love a balm. When Victor passed in September, quiet in his sleep, the funeral was a media circus, eulogies lauding the titan, whispers about the disowned son. Mason spoke last, brief and unflinching. He taught me ambition. Love taught me grace. We left hand in hand. Paparazzi flashes no match for our resolve. Autumn brought harvest. Shadows published to acclaim. Launches in indie bookstores where fans shared their stories. Mirrors to ours. Mason's pride swelled my chest. We traveled. Portland's food carts. San Francisco's Castro, collecting moments like talismans. Betrayal scar faded to silver. A reminder. Love demands courage, not perfection. Winter circled back. Our first anniversary in the Catskills cabin. Snow blanketing memories. By the fire. Remotes aside, we click without them now. We made plans. Adoption talks. A life beyond labels. Human first, Mason murmured. Hand on my heart. Always. 2 years post-remote. Life unfolded like a well-worn novel. Predictable joys. Unexpected turns. Our loft buzzed with chaos. A rescue dog named Click, Mason's idea. Naturally. Stacks of pitch decks. And the hum of a life built brick by queer brick. Harlan Echoes thrived. Billboards in Times Square bearing our tagline, "Stories that stick." I illustrated covers for up-and-coming authors. Mason charmed clients with that Harlan charisma, now laced with authenticity. But romance evolves, the early blaze tempered to steady flame. We'd argue, petty over dishes, deeper about work-life bleed, but make-up sex in the shower, apologies over brunch, knit us tighter. Mason's vulnerability deepened post-Victor. Therapy sessions he dragged me to, unpacking generational trauma. I won't repeat his cage, he'd affirm, sessions ending in our clasped hands. Society tested us. A gala invite, old colleagues. Elena, now a rival exec with a tell-all memoir brewing, tempted boycott. We went, armor-clad, matching pocket squares in rainbow silk. Heads turned, whispers followed. Elena cornered us by the bar, champagne flute trembling. "You destroyed him," she hissed at Mason. He met her gaze, calm. "We freed each other," she deflated, confession spilling. Victor's pressure had broken her too, pawn in his game. We parted not enemies, but survivors, humanity's messy grace. The pinnacle came unbidden, a call from the youth center. One kid, Jamie, 16 and freshly out, quoted my book in his suicide note, intercepted, "Thank God. Your story saved me," he texted Mason, who choked reading it aloud. We visited, awkward uncles offering pizza and earbuds, Jamie's shy grin a victory sweeter than any deal. Climax revisited in subtler forms. A client crisis, big pharma pulling out over lifestyle concerns, echoed Thompson's ghost. We fought, Mason's temper flaring. Not again, but we pivoted, landing a queer wellness brand, ad campaign going viral, diverse bodies, unapologetic joy. Protests followed, not against us, but for us, rainbow flags waving outside our door. Betrayals echo surfaced once more. An ex-hookup of mine, bitter from ghosting, leaked old photos to a gossip rag. Harlan's husband, from side piece to CEO, headlines screamed. Mason laughed it off over coffee, but insecurity gnawed. "Am I enough?" I asked one night, stars visible from our fire escape. He pulled me close, breath warm. "You're everything." Past is prologue. Our wedding non-legal, heartfelt, unfolded on that first rooftop. Agency now ours, string lights twinkling. Friends, chosen family, Alex as best man, toasting our slow burn epic. Vows exchanged under the moon. I choose you, in conflicts and calms. Rings simple, titanium bands engraved with click, sealed with a kiss that tasted of forever. Post-ceremony, we honeymooned in Maine, lobster shacks and cliff walks, bodies rediscovering in salt air. Back home, life resumed, dog walks in Prospect Park, brunches dissecting dreams. Mason's novel dropped, Remote Control, A Love in Hiding, bestseller status, tours packed with fans sharing arcs mirroring ours. Years layered on, adoption papers signed for little Theo, a freckled firecracker with Mason's eyes, or so we joked. Holidays blended families, my Ohio kin thawing over turkey, toasting the Harlans. Both of you, Victor's portrait hung in the loft. Not idle, but lesson, redemption in release. 50, gray threading our hair, we'd reflect on that remote, a relic in a shadow box, symbol of spark. One click, Mason muse, hand in mine on porch swings upstate. Changed the script. I'd squeeze back. We wrote the rest. Humanity's end? Not tragic, but textured, love as verb. Enduring through betrayals mended. Conflicts conquered. In America's vast tapestry, our thread, two men, once hidden, now woven bold. The final click, hearts aligned, story ongoing.